Let's create a GUI application using Java. So let's go and take a look at this example code and see what the different components of the GUI program are. So we're starting off with a package that I've called test example, and a package can contain more than one class. And so far in class, we may have just created one class, but now we're going to start adding more than one class to our packages. So for this particular class, we're going to create we've got a class that we have created called Rectangle Program. But it, but what it does is it extends to JFrame. Now, JFrame contains a lot of code, a lot of methods and properties that we can use. So we don't have to reinvent all of those. We don't have to write all of that code. We can just inherit all of that code from JFrame. So we're writing our program, but we can also take from the program which has already been written, which is JFrame, and use those methods and properties inside of our program without having to rewrite them. In this particular case, we've imported some packages which we'll need. We'll need the swing package and the AWT package. So we'll be using parts of those for our program. So let's take a look at what we've got inside of our class. Inside of our class, we are creating Jlabel. Now, Jlabel is a type just like integer or string or double or one of those, only it's uh, particularly used for GUI programming. Uh, Before, when you've done GUI programming, you may, if you've ever taken Visual Basic, a lot of this was done for you. Here we kind of look at the nuts and bolts of how it's done and how it's created. So, looking at these, we'll see that we have a Jlabel, and we've created some variable names for them. So length, L, width, area, perimeter, and these are private. You notice that each one of these are private. Now, what does it mean to be private? Private means that these variables can only be seen within this particular class. So it is private to this class. Another class, if it tried to reference directly uh, this identifier, it wouldn't be able to because it's private to this particular class. So it can only be seen within this class. It is encapsulated within this class. Okay, so we are going to create a label. We've got some text fields here. We've got a button. We've got a button handler. We'll look at that. And we've got an exit button handler. So we've got a calculate button handler and an exit button handler. So we have variables for those, for each one of those. And we'll look at those in a minute. Okay. And we have a fixed width and height that we'll be using. And so this is the width and height of our labels or text boxes that we'll be using. So let's take a look at first creating the four labels. So our label here, which remember we created up here, our label is going to be a J label. And in this J label, we're going to put in there whatever's between these double quotes. So enter the length is going to be in those double quotes. So that's what we're storing into our first J label that we call length L, length to the left. And we've got enter the width, area, and perimeter. And you'll notice that these are swing constants. In this case, we're going to move them to the right. So we're going to adjust these to the right, and our J label is going to contain this particular string, whatever is between the double quotes, and we're going to place them to the right in our frame. Okay. Create the 4 text fields. Okay, so we've got J text field, and we're going to have up to 10 characters for each one of these text fields. So uh, we created these, initialized, and now we've initialized these to a value. Creating the calculate button. So we created a new J button, uh, which has a particular look uh, depending on which operating system you're on. And we've got a button handler. So what's a button handler? Well, button handler and button listener. So the button, when you click the button, it wants to do something. So what it will do is that it will listen for that particular click, and when it does, it will handle it. It will execute a certain code for that particular button. So that button has to, when you click on it, it has to know what to do. So we're setting up variables which will uh, uh, know what to do when you click the button. So let's see what we've got next. Create the exit button. So we've got the calculate button and the exit button. Uh, the method is pretty much the same. In this case, we're doing the handler for the calculate button, and we're doing the handler for the exit button. Okay. Set title, one of the methods which is in JFrame, so we don't have to write this method ourselves. We can just reference uh, uh, we can access directly from JFrame as to what this does. And in this case, we're sending it area and perimeter, and it will set that as the title in our particular rectangle or window. Okay, so the pane, like a window pane, is where you can place all of your content. So it's a box basically where you can place all of the information, all of the labels and text boxes that you want. And we can have the grid layout for this particular pane. So not only do we have this box or window, but how is it laid out? How many across and how many down, and how will they be arranged? Okay, so that's the grid layout. And then we actually go in and start adding these to our window frame. So we're adding each one of these, either labels or text boxes, to our or a calculate button to our window frame. Okay. Set the size of the window and display it. So we can set the size of the window with width and height. Set visible to true. Well, why would you not want to have your window be visible? Well, there are times when you want to hide your window. You may not want it to be showing, so you can set it to false. And other times when you want it to appear on the screen, and in essence set it to true. Um, and on exit close. Okay. So here we've got what happens when we click on the calculate button. We want to know what to do when the button is clicked. Well, in this case, here's the handler for this. And when we click on the button, it goes in and starts executing this part of the program. Uh, we've got a double here, width, length, area, perimeter, and it does some calculations on each one of those, and you can get the text from each one of those. So the calculate button goes and finds the text from the length text field, from the width text field, and then it calculates the length times the width and stores it into the area variable. And it also takes the perimeter and takes the length and width that you enter into the program, multiplies it by 2, and stores that into the perimeter. So it will set the text and display the text um, in the area text field. And in the perimeter text field, it will display the perimeter value. The action button for the handler for the exit button will just exit the system, close the program out. Okay, so how do we start this thing? Well, what we do is that we instantiate an object of the rectangle program. And what that means is that we just start the rectangle program here. And we create an object called rectObject, and in this case we don't need to do anything else. We'll instantiate this and it will start our program. We'll create the object and start our program running. So let's go ahead and try this. And here we go. It has our labels, enter the length, enter the width, area, perimeter, and then our text fields. This text field, this one, and this was the length text field, width text field, area text field, perimeter text field. So what we can do is that when we enter a number in here, 5 here and say 2 here, it will calculate, it will do that handler. Let me see, can we scroll back up and find the handler? Let's see, calculate button. Okay, here's the handler for the calculate button. So I'm about to click the calculate button here, and what it will do is it will go here and it creates these variables. So it wrote a little program for calculating these. Get the text field, get the length text field, which is this one right here, and get the text from that one, which will be the number 5. So this will be the number 5. This will get the width text field, which is a number 2, and then it will calculate those and then display those. Okay, so it will display those in the area text field and the perimeter text field. Let's go and see if that works. So, and there it goes. So it did the calculations and it displayed those in the area and perimeter text field. Now, what's the handler going to do when I click on the exit button? Let's try it. And see where it is. System exit. Okay, so what we've done is that we've looked at the coding for a GUI program in Java, and we've looked at some of the calculations that it makes, uh, some of the things that you can get from JFrame automatically when you inherit JFrame or extend JFrame. So that'll do it for now. Thanks.